Hello everyone, how are you all doing? So this is second session, again sponsored by Viveka Service Society under Nirman, a capacity building institution. So the first session had been for us about language. I hope you liked it. I hope you tried the tips that I've given and you got some essence of what I was trying to say. Today we are going to speak about communication. This is the second session. And this session would include what is communication, what are the effective methods of communicating, what are the skills that include communicating effectively. So the first session is going to be very brief and short. I'm going to give you an introduction about what is communication, how you should communicate, what all does communication skills include. So I would like to ask you first, what do you understand by communication? What is your idea of communication? Pause the video. Write down in just 1 or 1.5 sentences what you understand by communication. Yeah? It just means imparting or exchanging information by speaking, writing or any other medium through different channels. That's what communication means as a definition. So, we've spoken about language yesterday. Can you not communicate without a language? If suppose you do not know English or suppose you do not know your mother tongue, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, it could be any language. If you do not know a certain language, can you not communicate? What does it mean? So what about the people who communicate through sign language? Is it not communication? So communication doesn't just include lingual communication. It means verbal, non-verbal, sign, written, spoken. All kinds of communication include, all kinds of channels and mediums include communication. So when you're trying to communicate, you have to use all these media and channels in order to communicate. It's just not enough to communicate through the word. So what all include communication? What are the effective skills to be communicating? The first is you should be a good listener to be able to communicate well. Which means only when you understand another person, only when you know what the audience need, only when you understand that what another person is expecting from you, will you be able to communicate properly. Then comes the second. Second is non-verbal understanding of communication. So it is just not enough that you listen to what the person is talking. It includes you questioning. It includes you trying to understand the tone they're talking in, the facial expressions that you're putting, the eye contact that they're trying to maintain. It is about the hand gestures that they're making. It is about the stances they are doing. If suppose a person is listening to you like this, it just means the person is utterly uninterested in listening to you. So these are the things you have to observe when you're trying to communicate with another person. Then comes speaking. Speaking is a third step. Third skill of communication. So you only need language, you don't need language to listen, you need understanding of language to listen. Only the spoken communication comes as the third step of effective communication when you try to talk to someone, when you're trying to speak to another person. So we have spoken about what is first listening skills, and then comes the non-verbal communication, understanding non-verbal communication, and then third is speaking. Even when you're speaking, it is very important for you to understand what it means to have a non-verbal communication with another person. Now suppose if you look at the gestures I am making, if you look at my facial expressions, if you look at the stances I'm trying to take, when I come in front forward like this, it just means that I'm trying to gain your attention. So these are the skills you need to understand when you try to communicate with another person. Now comes, before all of this, before you talk itself, it is very, very important for you to prepare the mind of audience who is listening to you. I'll give you a very simple example. So if suppose there's a guy and a girl, and the guy proposes to a girl, the first day he goes to the girl and then says, "Hello, I'm in love with you." Would the girl agree? Would that happen? No, you have to prepare the audience before you communicate something. In order to get a response that you're expecting, you need to prepare the mind of a person. What happens first? Now the rejection comes the first time. Then what happens? The guy would go say, "Can we be friends?" Yeah. then she would probably agree telling to be friends with each other. And once they both are friends, and then the relationship grows from there. They go out, they go out for eating, then dating starts, and then finally comes a day where the guy would again ask the girl, and then the girl would happily say, yes, I would like to be in a relationship with you. So this is one example where I've taken from an informal scenario. Let's look at a formal scenario. You want to start a business, or you have a business idea and you are going to a venture capitalist, or let's say you're going to a bank for a loan in order for your business, in order for the monetary resources for your business. So when you do that, even there you can't just go talk to manager of the bank and then say, listen, this is my idea, I'm expecting this much from your bank. The person is going to reject you right away. First, when you go, you have to explain them about the market survey you have done. How do you think your business is going to be successful? How do you think the money that bank is going to lend you, how you're going to utilize the money? You're going to submit to them the documents that are necessary, which makes them understand that when you're going to go through a big breakthrough, are you going to make profit through this business? What are the statistical data that you have with you that makes the other person understand that this is going to be a profitable business. This is what we call a prepared mind. When you throw an idea into a prepared mind, once the person agrees, once the person understands that your business is going to be a successful one, now all you have to do is tell them, this is the amount of the loan that I'm expecting, this is the amount of the money that I might need from you in order to start this business or in order to continue this business. So it is imperative for you to understand the fact that to talk to someone, in order to plant an idea into someone's head, in order to make sure that you produce a set of information to someone, you have to make sure that you prepare the mind of the person that you're trying to give this information to. Only then it is positively responded, and then you get a positive response from them. This is about informing the other person. Now comes the fifth skill, which is very, very important. Because only if you have fifth skill can you have improvement, only if you have fifth skill can you have an understanding. So there are two things in this. One thing is giving feedback, the other thing is receiving feedback. When you give feedback, the person would understand that you have analytical skills, and then you had been an active listener, and then you are actually caring about the problem that they have. You're showing compassion or empathy towards the problem the person is expressing to you, or probably the fact that you're interested in other person, what they're talking. That is when all of these elements are conveyed to the person who is talking to you or who is expressing something to you. The next step comes where you receive information. So only when you receive information, you understand that what are the things that are lacking particularly in this particular session. Therefore, the next time when you go to the same person, or next time when you go to a different person, how should you communicate differently so that the person would understand, the person would have an idea about what you're talking, and therefore respond positively to your proposal. So now, this session is completely not about how to write, how to talk, how to speak. I'm not talking about the technicalities of how we do that. We shall have separate sessions about what to write, what does it mean to write in an informal scenario, in a formal scenario. How do you write a letter to your friend? How do you write a letter in a business scenario? Or let's say, how do you talk in a business scenario? How do you talk in conversations which are not business scenarios, which are familial scenarios? Or let's say, when you talk with your friends, when you talk with your family, how is it any different? We'll also talk about what are public skills. We will also talk about what are presentation skills, how to have public facing skills, and how to have presentation skills, and what does it mean for you to written communication is very important. Let's say you're applying to a job, or let's say you are applying for a promotion, or let's say you want to talk to your boss, but then you first have to write a mail in order to get an appointment. So your face does not become your spoken language. Then what becomes imperative, what becomes more important is your written language. What are you writing? If you use a certain words, what does it mean what does it mean to those words? What does this vocabulary mean? And does it convey what you're trying to tell them? Is it a formal vocabulary? Is it an informal vocabulary? So these are the elements that we'll understand going forward. But this session is completely about what is basic of communication which are not taught in the school, which are something that you exercise on daily life. These are the elements that we're gonna cover today. So we've spoken about how the mind should be prepared. I'm going to give you an example of this. This is something that I have also picked up from one of the communication gurus whom I have known for a longer time. So he says that when the soil is prepared, if you ask a farmer that what are the best conditions to sow seeds into the soil, he says that when the soil is prepared, then even if you don't even have to sow a seed, you won't even have to go through, you know, opening up the soil and then throwing seed inside there. You just need to throw the seed on the soil, and then the sprouting happens. The plant comes out right away. So what I am trying to tell today is that it is so important that the soil is prepared, the mind is prepared even before you try to communicate with a certain person. So when you throw an idea at them, even without you trying to make them understand, you trying to tell them about the nuances of idea, a prepared mind would right away accept to what you're trying to tell them. So this is about today the basics of communication. How do you go forward with it? First includes listening, and then comes non-verbal communication. The third comes to speaking. The fourth comes to preparing a mind. And the fifth one is about giving and receiving information from the people you are trying to communicate. So this session is going to end with this, and I'm going to see you in next session. We're going to cover email writing. We're going to cover completely about what is written communication and how do you excel yourself in written communication. So wait for next session. Signing off today, Dharani. Thank you.